Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro. In your wildest imagination, you could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
The View just got slammed with an $800 million wake-up call, and Megyn Kelly came ready, like she was front row at the show. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win her case in court, she turned the moment into a full-on celebration. Now Megyn's firing off sharp jabs left and right, and it's got everyone rattled. Joy looks completely stunned. Whoopi's about to lose it, and Megyn's treating the whole thing like her own comedy set. So, how did this daytime drama spiral into such a public mess? Stick around. This media meltdown just turned into headline.
ABC having just paid $15 million for a defamation lawsuit would think not to engage in conspiracy theories about assassination attempts, but I guess that's too much to ask from The View. I mean, I got to ask you, because they said it, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs?
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that.
Daytime TV just got hit with more than gossip and coffee. It got rocked by an $800 million legal shockwave. Karoline Leavitt, yes, that Karoline Leavitt, took The View to court and came out swinging, leaving the show reeling. And Megyn Kelly? She didn't just watch from the sidelines. She showed up ready to stir the pot, and she brought the heat. This wasn't just a courtroom win. It was a full-on takedown that's shaking the halls of ABC.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
1 minute you're sipping coffee and cracking jokes on national TV, and the next you're staring down a massive financial meltdown. For years, The View thrived on its sharp takes and bold opinions, often aimed at whoever was in their sights that week. But here's the thing. When you go on air throwing accusations without legal backup, those snappy one-liners can end up costing you big. And now they're learning the hard way, with a lawsuit that comes with a price tag the size of a skyscraper.
Melania Trump came out and said she's about as pro-choice as they come. And here was the reaction on The View.
I think she hates him. Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all agree on that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
Would you look? This is a network that still runs out fact checks to these women, like it's concerned about them staying factual.
And this isn't just a minor setback or a simple mistake. We're talking about $800 million in serious consequences. The kind of hit that makes CEOs break down behind closed doors and sends sponsors running for the hills. It's a financial punch so hard, network executives are probably wondering if turning the show into a quiet yoga hour might be the only way to keep the lights on.
Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
This wasn't just a legal loss. It was a reality check. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win. She shook the table and left with her head held high. Megyn Kelly. She turned the fallout into a lesson on what happens when talk shows trade facts for viral drama. For years, The View ran on loud takes and light accountability, but this time, they crossed the line, and Karoline came armed with evidence, a serious legal team, and patience. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It was a bold move to remind media giants that defamation laws are real and costly.
Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, yay, on January 20th of this month. Not everyone's happy about it, and many people would like us to be more focused on the insurrection that he personally unleashed, if you ask them. As we discussed earlier, they think it's as bad as like the Holocaust, and you don't have to take my word for it. Here is Sunny Hostin of
January
The View
6th was an
today.
atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust.
What happened next was nothing short of a total meltdown. That $800 million verdict wasn't just a headline. It was a turning point for daytime TV. Gone are the days of unchecked snark, dramatic finger-pointing, and bending the facts for ratings. Somewhere in a high-rise office, a network executive is probably regretting everything. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt handled the win with calm confidence, and maybe even a glass of something bubbly. It wasn't just a courtroom win, it was a major moment for accountability, and Megyn Kelly, she didn't hold back. Her response was sharp, direct, and unapologetic. She didn't just react. She dissected The View's mistakes point by point, leaving no room for excuses. Kelly had been watching this unfold for years, and now that the reckoning finally came, she was ready, with facts, clarity, and not a hint of hesitation.
And then you get this little lecture from, forgive me, those is over at The View.
I'm a Christian girl. When something like this happens to you, like this assassination attempt, and you say something like God was watching me, that is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic.
What?
Well, God was watching me and not watching them. There's something very
That's not what
disturbing.
he said.
about
I
it.
should
have pulled the plug on that mic yesterday.
That's
Wow.
that's obnoxious. I don't know what church she goes to. That is how people of faith talk, and the intimation is never he was looking out for me, but not those monsters.
Megyn Kelly didn't need to yell or grandstand. She let the facts do the talking. Her response to The View's $800 million disaster was calm, precise, and impossible to ignore. With the poise of a seasoned pro, she walked through exactly where things went wrong, leaving no room for excuses. This wasn't about drama. It was about accountability. And while The View leaned on outrage, Karoline Leavitt came in with receipts and a strong legal case. Megyn simply pointed out the obvious. When a show crosses the line, there are real consequences. And this time, those consequences hit hard.
Whoopi Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller.
Yes.
On Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
One day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended because you know who showed up.
Leavitt's legal team didn't just throw a lawsuit and cross their fingers. They showed up fully armed. Defamation laws, libel statutes, a pile of receipts, and a discovery phase that turned into a goldmine. Internal emails, segment scripts, even memos casually admitting they twisted stories for ratings. All laid bare. And here's the kicker. When you broadcast accusations without facts to millions of viewers, courts don't call it entertainment. They call it defamation. Career damage? Check. Malicious intent? Double check. This wasn't about getting an apology. Leavitt's team calculated every dollar of damage like Wall Street pros. When the evidence dropped, it was a legal nuke. Meanwhile, The View sat stunned, like they forgot the rules applied to them too.
That hot mess that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not one, not two, not three, but 4 corrections, legal corrections, 4 legal notes. We only have 3 of them on camera, but look at this.
I have another legal note.
My God.
Both Trump and Pam Bondi have denied allegations of a quid pro quo. I have a legal note.
Not to mention what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean, this is a pattern with them.
View sat comfortably on years of power, never seeing Karoline Leavitt as a threat. Big mistake. She turned their smug dismissal into an $800 million lesson on why you don't mess with a legal dream team. Megyn Kelly watched it all like a front-row Wimbledon match. Every subpoena a serve, every court seal a backhand. When the verdict dropped, she didn't just celebrate. She delivered a sharp lesson in media accountability with a look that said, "I told you so." No drama, just facts. The View got reckless, got caught, and got wrecked. Megyn's takedown was quiet but deadly, proving snark without substance won't stand. The media world felt the shock. Hot takes cooled, headlines hesitated, and lawyers pulled up chairs in production meetings.
We love nothing more than tearing down women with the most petty and vacuous of insults. Leavitt appears to be a fierce operator, but she is also 27 and arguably quite glamorous. So of course, the kind and progressive voices at The View reacted to her appointment like this.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Newsrooms panicked overnight. Journalism didn't disappear, it hid behind damage control. A network VP probably screamed into a muffin reading Karoline Leavitt's $800 million lawsuit. This wasn't politics. It was lazy opinion posing as journalism. Megyn Kelly called it out, not for ideology, but for long overdue accountability. Fact-checking became mandatory, advertisers left, and the guilty segment vanished. But the damage stayed. The View tried to play it cool, but everyone saw the fallout. Daytime TV became legal roulette, and Karoline Leavitt flipped from newcomer to legal warrior, turning a smear into $1 billion lesson. Megyn Kelly's takedown was sharp, stylish, and deadly. Showing reckless talk has a cost, and even snark can be subpoenaed. Producers learned defamation law overnight. Hosts started saying allegedly like a mantra. The View's legacy? A cautionary tale. Karoline demanded more than money. She demanded change. Megyn stood with her, sending a message. Speak smart or pay up. By the end, talk shows went quiet. Every joke became risky. Daytime TV got lawyered up and way less fun. All because one careless line cost $800 million before lunch. Remember Karoline Leavitt. No tweets, no rage, just a lawsuit and a mic drop. Megyn Kelly didn't just roast The View, she set the legal bar. The sharpest burns come in facts, heels, and a calm, "I told you so."